to another episode of Bruvcast. I'm Raj, and there is no Mick today because he has taken a holiday break, so he will be back next week. So today I've roped back in Hiren, who was guest on episode number 8, I think it was, and that was the episode about going bold. So yes, I'm welcoming back my bold brother. Welcome back, Hiren.
What's up, bruv? It's good to be back. The Ball Brothers in action.
Yeah, man. How's it going?
It's going well, man. It's going well. It's been a nice kind of festive break. We've been doing lots of hosting, which has been nice. We've got the house redone up.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember in the last time I was here, we were literally going through all the housework and stuff.
There was a leak last time.
There was a leak.
Yeah.
There was a swimming pool, which I think I called a puddle, but it was actually a swimming pool, bruv. It was mad. But no, it's been really nice. Obviously, we had with the boys over. We obviously missed you and G, and obviously a little one. But we'll do we'll hook up soon, and we'll do that. But yeah, no, it's been good. How about yourself? How's everything your end?
Good. Just getting on with the episodes now, man. Starting to get them out for the new year. One thing I wanted to quickly, before we even get into anything, I don't know how much of this I want to keep in, but I'm going to, because I want to talk about this. When I was sending you the link to start this podcast, I sent it to you on WhatsApp, and with Mick, I have to use Skype for Mick for longer reasons. So for you, I sent it on WhatsApp, and I was like, I don't know if you use WhatsApp for web. So then I also decided to send it to your email address. Oh. And then when I typed in Hiren, I got like 4 different email addresses that I have saved for you for some reason. I think you open up a new one every time because I just use Gmail, and I think I get you to use it when we're using Google Docs or anything. But then I saw your OG Hotmail email address, which is Versace something at hotmail.com. And then I was like, that is probably the oldest email address that you have. That was like MSN days.
It was. Yeah, I don't know why I still use that. I've just kept it active. You know what? I don't know if anyone does this, but you know when you have your main one where you have like your job stuff, your recruiters and all that kind of stuff. The profesh one. Yeah. And then you have one where all the Gusio goes
Gusio one, yeah.
So that's one. But you keep using that. I was telling Keena earlier, I was just like, he keeps sending stuff to the Versace one, but I don't know why I've kept it alive, man. It's just there. But yeah, every time you get some links and you're like, oh, I want to sign up to that, but you don't know if it's legit.
Yeah.
Send it to Versace. Send it to Versace.
Or when you need to use Wi-Fi somewhere and the other say, well, what's your password? What's your date of birth? What's that? And then what's your email address? Then you just use that one. Sometimes for Wi-Fi they ask for an email address, isn't it?
Yeah, all that stuff. But I don't even know where it came from. So Versace underscore. Man doesn't even wear Versace. I'm more like Primani, man. You know what I mean?
So that was what MSN when we were in high school, right?
Yeah.
What I don't understand is how we had so much stuff to talk about after school, come back home, and then sign into MSN Messenger, and then you're just chatting away. You send nudges and stuff. Do you remember?
That's it, yeah. And you obviously you send nudges to the special ones. No comment. But then the other part of it is that you and Cyril and a few of the others would spend the day explaining, you found this software and you can do this. Yeah. And then you'd make me install a software. Next thing I know, my CD-ROM is opening up.
Oh yes, the hacker days.
That's it. Oh my God.
But yeah, man, MSN was I think that was the beginning of social media for us.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Then we went on to, so it was MSN, and then it was obviously chatting, doing all that, and then it started, like Facebook and that. But was it High Five or MySpace?
Came first. High Five came first, and it used to show you this weird thing of like, oh, this is how you know this person, and it shows you all the links that take you to that person, and it just made you realize that everyone just knows everyone, especially if you're brown.
Did you ever do this thing, right? So I used to do this, right? You could see who looked at your profiles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You could do it on LinkedIn still.
Okay. I think you have to pay the premium one, right?
You pay premium.
No, I'm broke for that, man. I'm not doing that. But the thing is, right, what I used to do, right, this is the thing that happens to me, right? If someone who's not my friend has looked at my profile, I'm like, yeah, she interested.
Yeah.
Then I'll play this whole little thing in my head. This Bollywood music will play.
The drama, innit?
Yeah, in the background.
So with MSN, that was before before we had smartphones, right?
Oh, yes, definitely. Because do you remember what it was? Is that, yeah, we had MSN, and then we were on that, what was it, that 56K modem? That goes...
Yeah, the startup. Oh my days, that used to be so long because then you disconnect sometimes. Free serve.
That's it.
Free
yes. That's it. You get that. And then I think that must have been like year 8, year 9. And then I think Mittel was the first one to get a smartphone. Or not even a smartphone. It was that little flip phone.
Oh yeah.
And all you could send is SMSs.
Yeah. No one had a smartphone.
No one had a smartphone, no. So it was definitely that. And then we had bricks. Yeah. So the only thing that we could do was text each other in addition to MSN and seeing each other at school and then playing Snake.
That was it.
And we were happy.
It would cost 10 pence to send a text, bruv. So you would have this whole text language. That's one thing that like the children of this age, bruv, aren't ever going to know. They're not going to need to worry about characters when they're sending text. I mean, for Twitter, obviously, you have some of those restrictions, 140 characters. But like day-to-day conversations with your friends and family are unlimited words you can send for free. And for us, that was not the case.
Oh, man.
Like, I reckon anyone that grew up in that era, if you gave them a phone in their hand, they would be able to text with one hand and have their eyes closed and send a message. Because you remember, like, how the alphabet runs on, like, the keypad, right? From 1 to 9.
Yes.
Like, sometimes on my Sky remotes, to enter the Wi-Fi password, the only way you can do that is using the keypad and the alphabet. And it's like a little flashback to the Nokia 3310 days.
Oh, man. Exactly. And you had to be so precise. If you had 10 pence and you had to send a meaningful message, you'd have to break it down to B, 4, I, and then...
Yeah.
And if it went down, mate, I'd be like, Mummy, I need money. Match pound apne, please. No, it was
the scratch cards that you used to get to top up the
the T-Mobile ones.
Yeah.
Well, I was on T-Mobile and Orange. And
all that was the worst, because then you'll be talking to someone and you're like, oh no, I can't call that person because they're not on the same plan as me. They're like, oh no, he's on Orange.
Yeah. And then you get a contract out and it's just like you get free Orange to Orange calls and be like, oh, my boys are on like T-Mobile.
Yeah. When we were in uni, I had this waste plan, where I had T-Mobile. I think it was either T-Mobile. Yeah, it was T-Mobile. It was T-Mobile phone plan, and I had 500 minutes. But then I had 10 cross-network minutes. 10 cross-network minutes. What are you going to do in 10 minutes, bruv, yeah? And then I met this girl, and she was on Orange. And I was like, for fuck's sake, yeah? So I could talk to her for 10 minutes, and then I'm not going to bloody pay. And then I used to use Cyril's phone to talk to her.
Oh, my days. Yeah. That's the struggles, isn't it, back in the day?
Bruv, it was...
But that 10 minutes would work perfect for Mick. Obviously, if remember in one of the pods he goes, he's not a phone person.
No, yeah, that would be fine for him.
Hi, okay, bye. He's still got like 9.5 minutes left.
He says that, but when he was talking to Nish, bruv, he was just like...
That's a different thing.
Yeah, I'd go into his room at the flat, and he'd be quiet, and I'd be like, oh, he's free. I was like, bruv, I'd be like, do you want to do something, or do you want to eat or whatever? And he'll be on the phone. But he's just listening.
He's listening to her sleeping. She's sleeping. Quiet.
But yeah, that's a bit of a flashback. But yeah, man, those were good days, bruv.
Nice. Obviously, we've come far since then, doing pods now, which is good to see. It's going strong, man. Pod game is strong. You and Mick are doing your thing. You've had lots of guests and stuff, which is really good to see.
Yeah, man, we're enjoying what we're doing and we're getting good feedback. So I think it's just great to just hear that, whatever stuff that we're talking about is striking a chord with the listeners, and also we're getting great feedback. Actually, on that note, please do continue to give us feedback. Continue to kind of share the podcast on social media, and rate us as well. It really helps to kind of give us those signals so that we can get bigger and better, which is the goal. I wanted to switch it up and ask you if you have a struggle to share.
So when you messaged me and you asked me to be on the pod and you were like, bring a struggle, I was just like, which one shall I bring? But I have struggles.
All right.
Struggles.
What's the one that's top of mind?
Okay. So the first one.
Oh, what? Really we've got a collection. All right, cool.
Yeah, no, we'll just start from the top.
All right.
The first one is kind of triggered from your last, or one of the last podcasts that you and Mick did, and I think it was the passport one. And turning into your parents.
Okay.
And you know, day by day as I get older, obviously a man's going to be hitting the 40 mark soon, 2024. Day by day, like, you know, when you think to yourself, oh, you know, when I grow older, when I'm a parent, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
It's that's Juna Jamana. That's what my parents do. But bruv, I find myself like constantly, right? So just an example. So obviously we've been doing a lot of hosting lately, and you know, people have been coming over, and you know, we eat and like overindulging and all those kind of things. It's good fun. But after the kids have gone to sleep, you come back downstairs and you're like, oh, I get this voice in my head, right? And it's my mum's voice, and it says, oh, Jarak Kaile Jarak. And I'm like, oh, okay. What I find myself doing now, so everyone's gone, we've done everything, kids have gone to bed, I'll get the cheese board out and I'll start cutting the cheese, right?
What, after everyone's gone back, everyone's gone to...
Yeah. I've eaten, brother. I've had a full meal, right? Everyone's gone, the kids have gone to bed, I'm just like, me time now. So I'll get a bit of cheese out, get a bit of cracker out, do this thing, right? And I was just like, I think a part of that is to do with me not wanting to waste the food. Obviously, we'd ordered a heckload of food and stuff for people coming over. And it just, yeah. So the struggle really comes down to, you know, when you go back home and you're with your mum and dad, and mum and dad cooked a big meal, and then you've eaten, you're stuffed, and it's like, oh, akaile. And it's literally a full meal for like your family, right? That you could use the next day. So the struggle basically is I can't say no, and I'm getting fatter by the day because I can't really control myself. And then, obviously, the man's turning 40, so I have the appetite of a 7-year-old, but the metabolism of someone that's like a male, 60-year-old male that can't shift it. And I can hear my mum in my head saying, Kaile, jara kaile, bhuk lagi chhe na ji, ye ek roti le le, biji roti le le.
Well, what about your dad? Your dad's always also saying you need to eat some more.
So my dad's in between. It depends on his mood, really. Okay. So it's just like, so sometimes it's like culture, and then you know when you're sitting down and you're enjoying it and you're just chatting, then he'll bring more, and they're like kaile gare le ja kale khaje, or atere kaile.
Oh, bro, the gare le ja kale khaje, yeah, that one, you end up with a lot of food. And do you get to all the food?
No, I don't, man. Sometimes
I feel bad, isn't it, throwing it out? But what are you going to do?
Exactly. And I hate wasting food. That's definitely, obviously, what I'm trying to get at, really. But yeah, man. No, I don't. What about you? What's your self-control like?
It depends, man. I think it depends on what kind of a phase I'm on. If I've now I know that Christmas and the December period was very indulgent. I know I'm going to be a bit more careful about it. But it's very difficult, when you've got a 6-month baby, because sometimes you just want sugar and fat because those are the things that are going to keep you going, man. You want quick energy. You can't be waiting around for, something to kick in about half an hour, an hour's time. So that's kind of where I'm at, trying to find something that is going to give me that sustenance. But
how are you planning? How are you guys doing with the little one? And meals and survival and all that stuff. How's that going for you both?
This week we started foods. So
oh, nice! Wow.
Yeah. So this week she's started to have broccoli, spinach, and avocado. Most of it ends up on the floor. Very, very little bits of it actually make it inside her mouth. Everything goes around her mouth and in her hair and up her nose, And it comes out the same way. It looks the same because it just goes straight through the system because their bodies don't process it, right?
Yeah, mate. This is where the poo changes for you guys. It's a different level of poo now, man.
Yeah, it's none of the bright yellows, none of the haldi poo, man. Switching it up,
mate. Depends what they're eating, how it processes in their system.
Yeah.
God, mate, you know what? Yeah, this is a continuous thing, right? Kids and the poo. So my other struggle was kids and public toilets, right? And like I've got a 7-year-old and I've got a 4-year-old, and obviously before you leave the house, you're like, oh yeah, now go to a toilet. Obviously, there's not going to be a toilet anywhere. Wherever we're going, obviously you're gonna.
Do you say that regardless? Regardless of where you're going, you always tell them there's not going to be a toilet. This is the only time you get to go to the toilet, and after that, it's not going to be until we come back home.
Yeah. Literally. So it's just like go because there's nothing out there. Even though we live in a modern world, it's nothing. It's nothing. This place is shut down, and you can't go into the.
Even toilets at Nani Nana's house are broken, and Nani Nana's house. There's no toilets.
There's no toilets on this planet. You have to go behind a bush if you need to.
Okay.
And each time, well, majority of the time, they're so hyped that they don't need to go. They don't realize that they need to go. So sometimes they'll pretend to go, and we just have to trust them that they've got.
Oh, what? They fake it?
Yes, sometimes. And you're like, and then as soon as you leave the house, you see them walking a different way. They're like jumping or something, and you know that they need to go, right? So they're like, I need to go loose. So okay, then this is the bit that ticks me off, right? Is because they don't understand the griminess in public toilets, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, with a girl, it's a bit different. Like you got to take things down, put on the loo, right? So you're holding her because obviously, if you don't hold her, she's gonna fall in the toilet. Yeah. So her hands are free. You're holding her from like just under her arms.
So she's like playing tabla on your head.
Bruv, not even a double. She's touching the sides of the thing, right? And I can't take her into the women's toilet because they'll be like, "Why is this bald, overindulgent person walking into a women's toilet?" And then, obviously, that's a whole different story. So then,
have you ever had to do that? Have you ever had to do that?
No,
never gone into a women's toilet.
No, I've never done that. I've gone into obviously baby changing, but not gone into a women's toilet. So obviously, you know how us guys will stand at a thing and then pee, and obviously things go everywhere. So then she's touching everything on the sides. Her like you're also trying to hold up like her trousers and stuff, which you don't want to touch the floor because obviously you know how it goes, splatters and stuff. So yeah, that's definitely another struggle. This is another thing. I become again. I transform into my my parents. So back in the day, right? Obviously, when you're growing up, you get a lot of, you know, well, I don't know if it's just me, but I used to get a lot of tellings off, ananikar, inikar, aniyar, all that kind of stuff, right? So then, obviously, as I was becoming proud, I was like, I'm not going to do that. I want to be completely cool. You know, if they do something wrong, I'll be like, it's okay. We make mistakes, right? But you can't make mistakes in a toilet, right? Because you're dealing with like
dirty
feces and stuff. You're dealing with dirty in it, pesab, jara, all that stuff, right? So then I start becoming those and saying those things like, hey, and it comes out in Gujarati, and then obviously the little one, she hears us speaking in Gujarati and she doesn't even know what it is, so she's just like, why are you talking funny language? I don't even know what to do these days. But the older one, on the other hand, then takes the mick out of me, right?
So wait, your default when you're angry is Gujarati. Does that happen when you're like arguing with your wife?
No, that's a whole different. I start speaking in Urdu, and Hindi, and Punjabi. I don't know what I'm speaking. Whatever comes out is the right thing to come out at that point. But yeah, no, it's with the kids. I think I don't know what it is.
But that's another thing that you've got from your parents.
Yeah, I think it's just you can't get away from it. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's best just to come to terms with it, isn't it?
It is, yeah, definitely. So yeah, Keena's gonna have a lovely time as I get older. Big 4-0, guys, it's coming. How about you, man? Tell me some of your struggles. What's been happening with you?
I actually have a struggle that's coming from the listeners, which I'm going to read out. So, and then we can discuss it. Right. So this is the question. Bruvs, what's your thought on couples sharing personal items, specifically towels? Imagine after a long day, you've just taken a nice hot de-stressing shower. Not distressing. De-stressing shower. What a distressing shower would be very stressful, bruv. Yeah. De-stressing. Okay. This just shows to you what state of mind I'm in right now. Anyway, You've just taken a nice hot de-stressing shower, and when you reach for your towel, you find it damp, all in capitals, and cold, all in capitals. My partner thinks it's fine, but it's a hard no for me. Also, how do I know they didn't wipe their bum on the part that I dried my face on? Exclamation mark. Now, I have a suspicion that this anonymous feedback was submitted by my wife.
Oh, don't. Are you a towel sharer?
No, bruv. No, I'm not. I am not a towel sharer, and under no circumstances would I intentionally share another person's towel. However, mistakes can happen in a household when you are tired and you might forget what side of the towel rack is your towel versus your partner's towel. So I have a suspicion that she might have submitted this, but let's run with it because we just got to keep it honest here on Bruvcast. We're sharing our struggles and finding the funny. So tell me, bruv, what do you think of this?
Okay, for me, it's a no-go. Okay, so mistakes happen.
It's a hard no, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. You can't do it. Only because I've tried. So, you know, when you're like doing all this cute stuff with like, oh yeah, we could share this, and back in the day, you know, when you're like getting to know someone
days.
And you're like early days and you're like, oh yeah, you know what, I'll do this, I'll do that, you know, I'll buy you a toothpaste and you can, all this kind of stuff.
Did you make any promises early on in your relationship that you have completely like gone against and gone back on?
Yeah, completely. Yeah, I'd be like, yeah, I'll cook, I'll do all of this stuff. I don't do anything. All these things, I don't know how it happens. It's like, yeah, I'll do all these things for you, darling, and we'll make it work. And then I don't do anything. And Alkina's just like, well, didn't you promise? I don't know if it's all women, but some women just remember every single thing that you promised them.
Audit trail.
And they will hold you to it.
Yeah.
And when you don't, you as the guy, you have to compensate in other ways. Like, yeah, I'll do the gardening, I'll do this, or I'll clean them, or I'll drop the kids for a week to school. You know, all these things have to come into play. But the towel thing is a no-go. Obviously, it's a mistake. That's definitely the first thing. But I would think the same thing. Am I wiping my face where she wiped her butt?
It's true.
So
it's true.
What are you gonna do? But yeah, if you're a guy and you like to share your partner's towel,
what about just sharing anything?
There's certain things obviously you can share
in the bathroom. All right, what would you share in the bathroom?
Soap, shower gel.
Wait, no, hold on. The soap, the little bar of soap.
No, we don't do that.
No,
we don't do that.
Shower gel.
No, it's only shower gel.
Okay. Toothbrush.
Nah.
By mistake. Has it happened?
It's happened. It's happened. You know what it is, right?
Hey, who did it?
Oh, so yeah, no, Keena did it. Okay, I'll tell you what exactly happened, right? You know when you obviously kids have their own like cartoony or you know character toothbrushes, so that's completely fine. You know whose is whose. But then when you open a new Colgate pack and you've got the 4 brushes out, she's a pink, I'm a blue. You know who's who, right?
Is that the rhyme?
That's the rhyme. And then you got green, and then obviously after 3 months or whatever, you chuck that out, and then there's a green, and then there's a blue, and then you go who's who, and then it just gets a bit mucky, right? And you're like, what's going on? We'll make it into a rhyme. No, but yeah, it's crazy. So then you're like, am I the green? Is she the blue? So now what we've done is we put our initials on it. So there's you can't make any mistakes now.
So there's initials, in permanent marker.
That's it. Because the worst thing is, right, obviously you love that person, whatever, but the moment you find out that you've got that person's toothbrush in your mouth is a completely different thing, right? It's a different level. But then I'm like, am I not good enough? We made children together. Yeah. What's this about?
You need a lot more than that to have kids.
But yeah, so if it is G, we'll just park this one and say mistakes happen.
Yeah, I think that's a fair one to.
But this is a good point. I think what you guys need to do is introduce Bruvcast towels, which clearly say face and bum.
Face and bum, yeah. So there's no confusion. No, but then it could be face and bum, but you could use the wrong person's towel, and you'd still be rubbing it with the face part. So that's still technically a no-go, isn't it?
But if you did even if you did use the wrong person's towel, you'd still have the face and the bum. Yeah, you know what? It's all good.
Yeah, that's actually a good shout, Okay, well, I think we have addressed that one. Do you have any other struggles to share?
When do you think we will start getting midlife crises? Crises?
Crises.
I'm talking as a crises. Obviously, we're all going to be turning 40 soon. This is midlife now, isn't it? Technically.
Is it midlife? I mean, people are living till like 90s now, aren't they? Or am I just being optimistic?
So I think like 80. Well, yeah, actually, technically
85. I think is the end of the innings.
Okay, so we got about 5 more years.
I don't know. I always thought midlife was 50s. But then I'm like, nah, because no one's living to 100. Like, okay, well, some people do. Yeah. My nanny one lived until I almost made it to 100.
Oh, bless.
But
would you? Okay, fine. Let me flip that question. Would you want to live to that age? Would you want to live to 100? You know, like, yeah, you know how they say, "Oh, so what? It's not that." So I'm like, "F off, mate. I don't want to live to that age."
But when you're cutting your cake, you're like, "No, fuck off.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of it. Who invited you?"
Yeah. Obviously, it's different. Obviously, we got kids now, and it's obviously you'd want to see them, but then at the same time, you don't know what you're kind of. Would you want to live that long?
100. I mean, I basically would want to live as long as I can, where I'm independent.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
I think when you become like heavily dependent on someone, then I think it just becomes harder for everyone, including yourself, and including the people that you're dependent on. So definitely. That's how I think about it. But then if I'm going back now based on that question and we're saying 85-ish, 85 to 90 range, yeah, we're approaching a midlife crisis. Not a crisis, we're approaching midlife. How do you feel about that?
So obviously, I think a part of it is just like, oh shoot, what's next, really, isn't it? And what's going to happen? Obviously, because hormonal changes and all those kind of things, things you can't control are just going to kick in.
Yeah.
But it's just lots of different things about what's going to happen, and I don't know. I think I'm at a really reflective stage at the moment as to what happens next.
Do you feel like you've started to have more of those reflections like recently, or has this been something that's happened like even because when I hit 30 I was like, oh my god. And now looking back I'm like, you fucking idiot, that was fine. But I did think that when I turned 30 it just felt like I was older than I had ever felt. Obviously that makes sense, but like it felt like a bigger milestone than any of my other ages up until that point. And then since then onwards, it's just been like, oh, it's another year. I think 40 is probably going to be the next one. But I definitely felt reflective at 30 in my 30s, which is why I always used to do like loads of like I used to do like one random thing a month, and that might be like going to see a concert, doing some kind of like random type of meditation that I've never done before, or trying a random class. I did like a fencing class, which was pretty random. So I think I tried to kind of like experience loads of things around my early 30s because I was in this mindset of, well, I didn't really do much at uni. I feel like in my 20s, I was a bit more narrow-minded in some ways because it was very much like have very similar kind of friends, very similar kind of interests, very similar kind of music, a lot of like the same type of thing, and didn't really deviate much one way or another. And then I think in my 30s, I really started to branch out. And then that's kind of when I took up improv and stand-up. And like, I mean, I'm not like by any means a stand-up comic. I've done like 2 sessions, but like improv, I've done a lot of improv classes and a few shows. So I think this podcast is like that path, which I reckon if I was a bit more open-minded in my 20s, maybe things would be slightly different, right? Like, and I have no regrets. Like, I'm glad that I did what I did because that's why I'm here from that standpoint. But I do feel like I have felt reflective then, and I definitely will when I hit 40. And I think there's another reason why we've started this podcast is because we're like, well, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, tell me your story.
But that's about it, really. It's just about what's happening next, really, for me. But no, just to touch on what you said, really. Obviously, you've achieved a lot of things, man. The improv has been sick. Obviously, I know we played a couple of games on our link ups and stuff, so that's always obviously been good. But yeah, no. For me, it's just like what, I'm going to keep on saying it because I don't really know, like what's next, like what actually happens, and it probably sounds stupid, but I think I'm just being a bit reflective.
But when you say what next, what do you mean? Are you thinking health-wise? Are you thinking career? Are you thinking family?
Yeah. You know. I think what it is that when you turn 30, you wanted to make sure that you had not built certain things, but you had achieved certain things.
Mm.
So for me, it's going to be along the lines of silly things like stuff we've spoke about. Like I've spoken to you, my cousin Jat, about releasing a track, right? Those kind of things. It's going to be like the year to do those things.
So you're going to do it this year,
yeah? Yeah. Oh, geez, yeah. See, yeah. Thanks for reminding me. It's this year. No,
no, you said it. You got to do it now.
Yeah. Of course. Those kind of things. It could be absolutely nonsense. That's the thing. I don't care. So I think you reached this point way before I did, of not giving two Fs about how you come across to people. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in a good way. That if you want to do something, you do it, and you don't care what other people think. You do stuff to achieve or tick off those things. And I'm starting to kind of get that, because when you meet other people and you're just like be like, oh, you can't do that, I'm like, I don't really care, I'm gonna do it. And it's a bit of self-realization about where we're going to go to next and how I'm going to be, and the level of care and those things. But there's obviously some sort of charity work that I want to get in there as well, and I don't know what, but obviously something that meets my core objectives, if that makes sense.
Do you have like an inner know?
What does that even mean?
It's basically, if you're about to try something new or embark on something that you haven't done before, or something that's scary, or something that's very out of character, how much internal resistance do you have before you do it or you do not do it?
Okay, I don't have much of that, to be honest, in terms of I used to have lots of like, no, don't do it. But now I think this borderline laziness that has kind of taken over. But no, I think I just need to do it.
Yeah.
So I think if you're held accountable to it, and I think this is another reason I'm saying it on air, because, and I don't care if you use it or you don't, but I'm saying it to you, and it's obviously recorded somewhere, so I'm actually going to have to.
So you're gonna have a track coming out.
I'm gonna have a track coming out
this year.
This year, I'm going to get my little one on it. I'm probably going to use this setup that you got here.
Okay.
Obviously, you got the beats. You're always sending me random beats.
I'll send you the beats.
And you're going to join me. You're going to join me because we've always talked about it.
We have talked about it. What else is on the list then? Is this the list for the Big 40?
This is the list. I think it's a lot about... So that's one random thing. Mm-hmm. So like doing stuff that we've always spoken about, job and stuff, that's quite stable. Obviously in a new job at the moment, so that's going well, touch wood. But then the rest of it is around connection.
Okay.
And it's around, obviously the kids are at an age where obviously not completely self-sufficient, but enough to carry themselves. If we were to drop them somewhere, it's not too much trouble. It's just about rebuilding those connections, because there was a blip where you kind of lose contact with everyone. So I think it's just about rebuilding connections as well. Which will be nice, because obviously I think all of us had a large group connection with random people, and I always speak to them, still try to keep in touch with them. But now I think 40 onwards is about more interaction and charity work. I think that's what's going to be my next thing. So yeah, I don't know, one of those things. This reflective, man. I was just going to keep it light,
mate. The whole point of this podcast is to talk to people. Talk about whatever is on your mind. And if this is what is on your mind, like, I do feel like we are now at an age where it is the time to try things, right? Because it's likely that you're in some level of stability, family-wise, financially, relationship-wise. So those things aren't moving around as much as they have earlier on in your life. So why not try and move to a completely different thing and try something completely different? So it makes complete sense to me.
I think a part of it, what you touched on earlier, just before what you said, is the unknown as well. And I think those of us who are lucky enough to have our parents still around is a blessing. Obviously there's moments where you're like, what the hell's going on? And you ride those moments. You and Mick have covered that quite a bit, but there's obviously that whole unknown about what's it going to be like.
Well, I mean, that is definitely a thing, right? Like, I feel like this is what I was talking to Gagan about earlier, because I feel like you and me, our parents are a lot more older than Mick's parents, Sil's parents. So I think we have a lot more in common. I would expect us to have a lot more in common of like the types of things that our parents are dealing with, and then effectively we are dealing with, right?
Yeah, completely.
Just saying that, I don't know if you want to get too like deep into that, but how much do you think about just kind of like, how much do you worry about your parents and them being old and like? Yeah.
I think that for me, that's a constant worry about what's going on, and are they okay? It's weird. So it is a constant worry, to be honest. It's about, are they okay? What's happened? What's happening? Obviously there's the whole, they say they're okay, but are they actually okay?
Yeah.
And you don't have that. This might sound bad, but you don't have the time sometimes to just go down there and be like, is everything okay? Because even if you ask them, is everything okay, they will be like, haha, everything's fine.
But they won't give you the full details.
They won't give you the full thing. And then when something happens, it's just like, oh, touch wood, nothing happens. But if something was to unravel, it's because this happened. And they would, and a natural instinct of a parent is to protect their
children.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a constant worry, but best thing that you can do is just tell them that you're there, innit? And hope that they rely on you when they do. And I think the folks do. They do rely on us when they need stuff. Obviously, they're thank God they're still mobile and still able and all those kind of things, which is good to see. But they are also vulnerable and elderly. So there's obviously there's stuff that you can't control, which is what's happening with their bodies and what's happening with their mind. But there's also that worry about what's the external environment, those kind of things.
You can control some of the external things, but the internal thing, the health things, is just, you can control the treatment and recovery from things. But outside of that, it becomes very difficult. This is one thing I'm finding for sure now, is because now I have a kid, you're juggling, right? Because you have a lot of people now that demand your time and attention, right? Rightfully so. But it's then a case for you to like, well, how can you prioritize these things, right? Because when it comes to health, it's probably the person who's the sickest that needs the most like immediate attention. But in some cases, maybe you can't even do that. So I feel like that is something that is definitely a struggle. Just trying to balance that and just make sure that you've got the right things, you're prioritizing the right situations and right people and all the rest of it. There's moments where it's exactly how you describe it. Like, they don't tell you when each of the individual things happen. They tell you when it's 5 months down the line, and they're like, monetopelity tuchia. I'm like, what? Why are you not telling me this information before? Like, why are you longing it out? And yeah, I think you're right. I think they do try and they are trying to protect you, but at the same time, it's the opposite, because you're not protecting. You're actually making it worse, because you're letting the problem get worse, and then it's also harder to deal with and treat something if you leave it untreated. So I think that's an ongoing debate. Mobility is the most important thing, that I want for my parents. So I've always made sure that anything that they have, get physiotherapy as quickly as possible, and just kind of make sure that they're constantly on it and keep at it. But there is only so much you can do. There is only so much you can do, and you do need to tell yourself that, because I don't know. I think you do put a lot of. I think you can put a lot of pressure on yourself, just kind of saying, well, the buck stops with me, and if I don't do it, no one's going to do it.
Yeah, true, exactly.
But yeah, I think that's what makes it hard.
But just on what you said, really, on them not telling us is a really good point. But I think is it in effect a version of the silent treatment? You just ignore it until you have to say it. You just pretend like it's not happened, or you don't want to tell anyone, because if you don't tell anyone, it's not real. Do you know that? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's that, because I think that's something that I've picked up as well, is if I don't say something, it's not real. I keep it to myself.
Yeah.
Whether you're using it to protect others or protect yourself. If you don't say it out in the open, whether you think it or not, or you dream about it or whatnot, if you don't say it out in the open, it's not a thing.
I think it could be the other way, though. I think that if you're, because you could, I mean, if you're now talking about like mental health, then you could have a lot of like anxiety around things, or you're beating yourself up about something, or you're stressing yourself out about something that doesn't actually exist, or is something that hasn't even happened, or something that may never even happen. And I think there can be a tendency to just not want to talk because of that, because of the fear of judgment or that definitely does happen in like Asian community for sure. But yeah, I do feel like there is some of that with regards to physical health. I think my mom and my dad are very different. My dad will run to the doctor the moment something is up. The moment he had tennis elbow recently, right? And he was there bright and early. You have to wait in the queue, innit? So he's there standing in the queue, and he's friends with the receptionist. So, she made sure that he got seen on the day, and he got himself to physiotherapy. So done, right? Like, and then it's just a matter of chasing him and making sure that he's doing it and all the rest of it. My mom is not, I think she will let things go on for a little bit longer until she takes action, because she's very much of this mindset of it will get better by itself. It should get better by itself. She doesn't even take like painkillers that much. She rarely takes a paracetamol. Only if like it's like the most excruciating pain, which I don't understand.
Yeah.
And I think that the way that them two are different also is, you have to then judge when one of them is telling you they're not feeling okay. It's a different outcome depending on who it's coming from. Because I know if it's dad, he's already seen someone about it. So most of the times he's more kind of like giving me a report of what's the deal. Whereas when it's mum, I need to push her, and I need to say, you need to go to the doctor. So I think that's the way that I deal with my parents, because they are different.
And does it work when you say that with mum? Does she go, or does she?
She does. She started to. She does respond after the persistence, but it's hard work, man. It's definitely hard work.
So this is a joint struggle, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Is it the same for you as well?
Yeah. So dad's the same. So he would, like, if something's wrong with him, he'll make his way. It depends on his mood sometimes, but like 8 out of 10 times, like I'll call and mum will be like, oh yeah, he's gone to surgery. He's gone. And like, why is he gone? He goes, oh, something's wrong, or this. That. So he goes. Yeah. With mum, what it comes down to is that if something's wrong, she thinks she can self-diagnose.
Yeah.
And she thinks that all these kind of like Ayurvedic things she's getting on WhatsApp are gonna mend the problem. So she's gonna be like, oh, if I get methi and a bit of ghee and do this and I rub it on my gotan, it's gonna be completely fine. And I'm like that. And then you check in 2 weeks because suvar no pani piu chu, savare 5 wage uthine, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, is it doing anything? He goes, more fine. I was like, how's your knee? She goes, oh, yeah, still hurting. I was like, go to the doctor. And then the whole like complaining starts about, doctor Bosarunati, receptionist and all this stuff. So it is a bit of a struggle, but yeah, I think sometimes you do have to let them test those things out. And I think some of it, I do believe in some of that kind of Ayurvedic stuff that can work, but obviously the medicines are different. And then
I think I think all of that is it's also faith, right? Do you have faith in it? If you have faith in it, exactly. Maybe that. I mean, that's the whole reason there's a placebo effect, right? Because the power of the mind is that, so that you can actually recover from things or feel things that an alleged drug is meant to give you relief from, where it doesn't do anything. It's just a water pill. So the fact that the placebo effect exists tells you that faith alone could get you over the line and give you release of like pain from things.
True.
But you need to have it, right? You need to have it in abundance. So, it might. I think that's why a lot of those things gather pace on like WhatsApp and whatnot, because they do work for some people, because you have blind faith in something and it's like, this is gonna make me feel better. I'm gonna feel better after I do this.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think that is what carries them. This is completely switching up. The other day, I was driving my car with my mom in the car. I was taking her for a doctor's checkup. So when we got to the appointment, I walked past my car and I looked at the bonnet of my car, and someone had drawn a Lund on my car, bruv. And I was with my mom, and she saw it. She saw a Lund on my car, bruv.
What did she say?
She didn't. She didn't say anything. She just looked the other way. She just saw it. She saw it. And so I just kind of, I don't even know if she acknowledged it. She just saw that there was something drawn on the car, and then she just looked the other way. And then obviously we had to get back in the car to go back home.
Did you wipe it?
No, I didn't want to draw even more attention to it, man. I just carried on like there was no, phallus on my car. But I don't even know why it would have happened, bro. I've not parked in an irresponsible way. I have not pissed, as far as best to my knowledge, I have not pissed someone off or parked in front of like a driveway or, cut someone up or done anything. I feel like I'm a pretty, responsible, mild-mannered driver. Gagan would probably disagree, but for someone to take the time, I mean, it's probably a kid, right?
Yeah.
There's probably just like Lunds on all the cars on our road, but like, I don't know, bro. I just wanted to share that struggle because it was an awkward situation that I had to kind of navigate. Have you drawn a Lund on a car before, bro? I've done the thing of like clean me when it's like, I remember doing that when I was younger, but not.
I think
not got that.
I think drawing knobs on a car is a thing. It's definitely a thing. But when you're with your mum, that's just raw.
No,
you're taking.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Did you check the road?
No, I didn't check.
You should have checked it, man. Oh my god, no, definitely. That's just poor mum. She had to see this.
She had to see it. It was an abomination, man. It wasn't even a small one. It stretched from like one end of the bonnet to the other.
Wow, geez.
It was a big one, bruv.
It was a big job.
It was a sizable.
Oh, mate. I don't know how I would have reacted. I would definitely started like.
Would you have, if you were with your mum or your dad, would you have acknowledged it, or would you have just been like, nah?
I would have started cleaning it. If I'm honest. Yeah, I would have just been like, oh, what's this?
But by then, if they see you cleaning it, then they're seeing the Lund.
Yeah, but still, I think, oh my days, I don't even know where to go with that one. I'll clean it. I think that's what my honest thing would be. I'll start cleaning it and be like, oh, these stupid boys, what they doing? Jeez, God,
yeah,
mate, you need to get one of those dash cams.
I do.
Find out who the little.
I need to find out who this person is and just tell their parents that they're going around vandalize. It's vandalism, isn't it?
But it's a thing. It's a thing, though, isn't it? It's one of those things that you do to look cool. Hey, I drew a dick on the car.
Yeah. It's not cool. So if you're doing dicks on cars, please don't.
Yeah, draw something else. Draw something nice, like a bird. An actual bird. Nothing else of a bird. Just a bird.
Or a flower.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man.
Whoa. So, yeah, that was a good range of topics. Thank you so much for your time, H. You've now told the world you are going to do a mixtape. I mean, you said one track, but you might as well do a mixtape and just kind of like, have an entire album dropping in this year, right? 2024 has to be the year that you do your track.
2024, it's going to be out. You're going to be joining me. It's going to be a joint thing. We're going to get Mick on there on the tambourine. We're going to do our thing. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make it 2024 a year of connection and releasing mixtapes of random stuff.
We should do it. Thank you so much for your time. Do you have any shout outs to give?
I know my niece Mahi's always listening, and she's always finding this so funny.
Really?
So
she's hearing us swearing.
Yeah. She's always telling me. I saw her recently, and she was just like, "Oh, they're so funny. They're so funny." So no, big shout out to Mahi.
Shout out Mahi, and don't use any of the language that we use, especially the Gujarati words, especially when you're speaking to your grandparents. Please. And if you do use those words, they came from your from Hiren, not from me.
Oh God, you put me in it now. But yeah, no, big shout out to everyone actually. So yeah, keep supporting the movement.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Please continue to support us and share the struggle, find the funny. See you later, people. Bye.
Bye.